Not Nerd Podcast, episode 354, Staring at Clouds.
Welcome to the Not Nerd Podcast. I'm Nate Heath, and we are here to help you tech better. Here with me, as always, Mr. Dave Baylor.
Hello there, Mr. Nate. How about we go to the cinema? I'm practicing out my new word. I'm practicing my new word.
It out.
Cinema. Because I am barred from saying other words.
Yes.
They're similar. So there's no big closures, nothing big to talk about this week that I can think of. Oh, wait, you have a bunch of news stories we should probably talk about. But other than that, nothing's going on.
Yeah, so, I didn't put it in the notes as we get into Followup, because we have talked about this many times. You lost your local movie cinema this week. Speaking of cinemas.
Yes, it was it was a dark and stormy night. So yes, here in the hamlet of Sherwood, there was a Regal Cinema 10, and I got an email. Tyler alerted me to it, and it's no more. It's gone. They closed down. I talked to one of the employees that my son knew, and they said, hey, due to the recent bankruptcy of Regal Cinema's parent company, we want some assurances that you can make the lease on the building. And they're like, we can't make those assurances. And they're like, well, see you later.
Peace out.
So I'm assuming that the building will sit there fallow for 5 years, and then they'll either be torn down or they will put a yoga studio in there with stadium seating or something. Yes, I don't know.
There you go. You should buy it and make it into like a e-gaming arena.
Oh, that would be cool. I'm thinking that the reason because logic would dictate, isn't some money better than no money if you have to pay unless the building is paid off? But my guess is it's an insurance type thing or a tax write-off or whatever. Yes. They're just gonna
typically. Well, in a story that should surprise no one, I found an article this week from TechCrunch. Are you sitting, Dave? I can see that you're sitting down, listeners.
Do I need to stand up?
You might fall over.
How's that view?
Yes. Here we go. Okay. TikTok just launched a BeReal clone called TikTok Now.
Wow, they're delving into Facebook's territory. Yes. I know we talked about Facebook already copying BeReal, but now TikTok's doing it too? Yeah.
It is. It was only a matter of time, and they're all becoming the same thing. I don't know how, but I saw something that an article, and I didn't read it or anything, a headline that BeReal's raising a bunch of funding, and they're trying to go to a paid mode. And I'm like, if Instagram and TikTok have it, why is anybody on earth? And I will remind people, this is where you get a prompt at some random time of the day, and then you open the app and you take a photo or video of what's in front of you and the selfie camera, and then it shares with all your friends. So it is not a thing for me. Apparently the kids are into this.
It's so dumb. I'm looking at one of the screenshots in the article that you referenced, and there's a lady, because it uses both the front and back, but she's standing in front of a mirror. And so both shots are of her. It's like, You can't get enough of me, can you, audience? Yeah. Look at me in the face and the whole body. It's just so bizarre.
Bizarre.
Yeah, I think you're right. All these apps are racing to be the exact same thing. And maybe it's going to be like Microsoft and Apple and Samsung and Apple and who else at Apple. Where it's just like you just choose the platform that you like best. Amazon and Apple.
Yes.
With the music service. You just pick the service you want, and then what's the difference? They're the same thing.
Yeah.
What's the difference?
You go where your friends are. Well, I was watching some of the National Football League yesterday as we record this on Sunday, and just had it on the background. I was using my pick of the week that we'll get to later. But I had the game on, and I don't usually watch live TV, so I was getting to see a lot of the commercials you don't normally see.
Live TV. Yuck. But go on.
I thought it was a joke, and it might be, but I went and found the YouTube video for this commercial, and they were announcing in the commercial, some guy came up with the idea of how they would explain that they have live TV in addition to Hulu Plus. So now they're going to call it Hulu Plus LiveTV plus plus plus.
Are you kidding me?
So I think it was
real.
just for this ad, and the video, it's just their commercial. But the thing is, in their video, they use the hashtag with plus spelled out, hashtag Hulu Plus Live TV plus plus plus. That's like half your tweet if you use that hashtag.
I realize everybody wants to copy Apple, and we talked about this. Apple wasn't the first with the plus. There were some no-name weird things with plus, but they kind of put it in the zeitgeist. Like, if you're going to copy Apple, don't copy their naming conventions. They're not that great. I got to be honest with you.
Yes.
The iPad, the new iPad, the even newer iPad. Oh, the iPad 1.
Yes.
But it's actually the 6th one. I mean, come on.
Yeah, so Hulu's going with the pluses. I think it was just a, in quotes, clever ad, but the pluses are here to stay, so I thought I'd bring that up, and you can go watch the commercial on YouTube.
Thank you. I will not be doing that.
Yes, and in other news of TV I watched this last week, I happened to catch the Emmys. And they
Those
were
on, I guess.
Yes, and I found an article. And it was weird, like the MTV Awards, they kind of had some weird, like extra. They're trying too hard, and they did not get much viewership. But they did talk about the Emmy Awards 2022 wins by platform.
Okay.
So HBO and HBO Max came in with a total of 38 Emmys, both creative arts and primetime. Netflix had 26, Hulu, the aforementioned Hulu, had 8, Apple TV Plus 7, NBC 7, Disney Plus 6, and Prime Video 6.
And these are all streaming services. That's the platform we're talking about here.
Besides NBC. But they were promoting their Peacock service heavily during the thing.
So Peacock would be the streaming service that NBC has. I forgot about Peacock. I forgot that it existed.
Yeah.
And I need to go, let me put this on pause real quick. Just let me go check to see if I'm still paying for that.
Still paying. I think I canceled mine that I have not used. But HBO and HBO Max still coming in strong with almost 40 Emmys. And watching the Emmys, I realized I had heard of a couple of the TV shows, but there was not many that I actually watched. There's a couple that I would like to check out, but yeah, it's very, very interesting to see. Ted Lasso won a couple for Apple, but it's also, I'm watching it and I don't know if they put it on the screen or not. Like, I don't know where I find these shows at. It's like,
yeah, you just search for them. I mean, they have a home, but nobody knows the address of their home. Like Ted Lasso, you tell somebody, "Oh, it's a great show." They're like, "What? Is that on Netflix or Disney Plus plus plus? Who knows?"
Yes,
it's Apple TV, by the way.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It's been a while since we've had any Amazon product announcements, but as you being a huge fan of the Kindle, the headline from Gizmodo, the cheapest Kindle is now less cheap, but it's got a better screen. So it's still under $100, and it's got USB-C, but it's got a better screen. So
yeah, it was like $79. I think now it's like $99, or you can get a discount. Let's see, at $90, the ad-supported Kindle was cheaper than the Kobo Nia.
What is the Kobo Nia?
I don't know. They still do have other, besides like iPads and Kindles, there are a bunch of third-party. I think Sony makes one, and some people, Jason Snell of Too Many Podcasts to mention, I believe has some type of. He has the Kindle Oasis, but he also has some type of Nook reader. That I think it's because you can easily put any of the content you want on it. You just copy the files over and they're there, versus doing this complicated dance of emails and all this stuff. So yeah, things are out there, but the Kindle is dead. Long live the Kindle, I guess.
Yes.
I mean, they have to raise prices sometime. At least you're getting a benefit there.
Yes.
Other products we've seen in the past, they increase the price and don't make them any better. So at least they're making it better.
And it does come in black or denim color options. So it went to USB-C, a bump from 8 gigs to 16 gigs of storage, which for a Kindle, that is a lot of books. They do not take up a lot of room, and a much better e-ink screen. So if you're in the market for a new Kindle, they've got a new low-end one to check out. Well, everybody's been waiting. It's that time of the month. Microsoft September 2022 Patch Tuesday fixes 0-day used in attacks. 63 flaws this month. 63 vulnerabilities.
Yikes, that's a lot.
Yes, yeah.
We've had
5 of
before,
those,
though.
Yeah. 5 of those are classified as critical. So, just our reminder. And not to be outdone, Apple this last week, also a note to update, they fixed a new 0-day that was under attack with updates to iOS, iPadOS, and macOS. So besides iOS 16, which came out, there's also the 15.7 if you're not quite ready for iOS 16.
Talking about computer upgrades, software upgrades, and all of that, when is the official build of the new Ventura coming out?
So yes, the iPad OS, the new version, and macOS Ventura, they haven't been officially announced when it's going to come out, but I think there's rumors of an October event. So
with the new iPads or something.
Yes, yeah. And so the macOS usually comes out much later than iOS, but iPadOS got bumped to be released with macOS this year. So those will be coming. So all of the new features, those will be coming probably next month in October, from what I'm hearing around the podcast realm.
Around the rumor tree.
Yes, indeed. Well, we've got a little crypto watch. We haven't brought that up mostly because our portfolios are doing so poorly, as is everybody's in the crypto world. But
we're just crying a lot.
Yes, Ethereum, which we both own some of, it's the second largest cryptocurrency behind Bitcoin. They had this merge, this revision, this whole new switching of their system. I kind of understand it. It went from proof of work to proof of stake is how things are calculated.
Yeah, the layman's version is you used to have to use thousands of computers with thousands of graphics cards to calculate all this math in order to do the proof of transactions. Now it's moving to a different system, which I do not fully understand, but it does not require thousands of computers with thousands of powerful graphics cards to decode anything.
Yes.
But the ledger system is still in place, and I think all of that just takes place on one computer, but it's like copied, or I don't know. I don't want to get too deep into how it works, but it uses much less resources.
Yes, and it I think I heard that like at least 90% less power to run the network. So everybody's saying this is really great. And then I saw a headline before we recorded this afternoon saying that Ethereum's down 15%. So it hasn't been the hopeful raise in prices. But I will remind people, it's been a long while since we've done this, in my handy little crypto app here, to look at the Bitcoin price.
Yeah.
And if you'll remember, it got up to a high of $68,991. It is currently sitting at $19,419.90. So,
and for those of you who do math, that's a significant drop.
Yes, indeed. It is down. It'll actually tell me in the app. It looks like it is down. No, that is not correct math. It says down 53. Oh, no, never mind. I am wrong. But yes, that is about a 60% drop, 70% drop.
Yes, precipitous, I think, is a word that I may be pronouncing correctly. And regarding Ethereum, today, my portfolio has increased by $68 today.
Oh, wow.
So now don't zoom out to the week, because I've lost hundreds. But today, it's up a little bit. So overall, I'm just hoping that just keep going.
Keep going.
day after day, week after week, month after month, and then we'll finally kind of be at where I bought in, and then hallelujah. I can retire. I can buy that house on the coast that I've been wanting.
Oh, yes. Well, you know what I've been wanting? Dave's Pro Tip of the Week.
Well, this week, Nate, you suggested that you and I go through a list of features for iOS 16. And of course, we talked about iPad OS 16 is not going to come out yet. So this is primarily for your new iPhone or previous iPhones as far back as iPhone 8. So if you have an iPhone 8 and newer, you can download today and install iOS 16. So let's take a look at some of the features.
And I will tell you, if you have an iPhone 8 or older, including the iPhone 8, it's time to upgrade. That's just my personal thing. So yeah, this is the actual list from Apple's website of features. And I was reading through this list, and there was a bunch of stuff, because they tell us about a lot of these features in June at WWDC, but then you wait months before you use it. And I'm like, man, they packed a lot of stuff in here.
They did. Yeah, this is a very significant update. And not everything is going to be useful to everybody, but there are at least a few features in all these categories that I think are going to be helpful. They start off their document talking about the lock screen. And I was actually playing around with my lock screen today because you can do a photo shuffle feature.
Oh, yeah,
and I'm like, I don't know how this works. And so what it does is if you're on your lock screen, you can set it to where you have an album or a series of photos so that whenever you tap the screen, it'll switch to a different photo, or anytime you unlock or you turn on the lock screen, slightly different, but every time you turn it on, it'll switch photos. Or you can have it switch daily or weekly or monthly, just on a schedule. I have it turned on to where whenever I turn on my phone and the screen lights up, I have a different picture. And of course, I sourced a bunch of beautiful landscape pictures where the mountains and trees and stuff kind of overlay the text because there's that optical type flow going on with the clock behind. So here's a picture if you're curious for my one viewer.
Oh, yeah. I like it.
It's so blown
bright.
out. You can't even see it. But anyway, so that's cool. Have you experimented with other features on the lock phone? The lock screen, sorry.
Lock screen. So how you get in there to play around with it, you just hold like in the middle of your lock screen. And if you have an Apple Watch or are familiar with that, it's a very similar to the watch faces where you can have all kinds of different faces. So I have played around with a couple with different widgets. I did do one with a lovely picture of my wife.
Who's that supermodel? Oh,
yes.
That's Chelsea. Okay.
Yes, with her head comes in front of the clock, so there's the depth effects, but there's really a lot of features in there and a lot you can do with it. I'll quickly read through all the different things here under lock screen. So the lock screen gallery, lock screen switching, lock screen editing, stylized date and time, so you could change the font, multi-layered photo effect, suggested photos, photo shuffle, photo styles, widgets on the lock screen, widget kit API, live activities API, lock screens made for focus, Apple collections, astronomy, weather, emoji, colors, new design for now playing, new notification design, notification animations, notification view on lock screen. So this is a major part of iOS 16 is the new lock screen. And I really like it. I think they've done a great job with it.
And that was just the first 10% of things for the lock screen. And I'm going to read the next. No, that's all for the lock screen. But now switching our focus to focus.
Yeah.
See what I did there? I don't use focus a lot. So I'll read through these, but you tell me at the end, kind of if you use different focus modes and all of that. But lock screen linking, lock screen suggestion, focus filters, home screen page suggestions, focus filter API, focus schedules, allow and silent list, and easier setup. Now, none of those bullet points made any sense to me.
No. So the one thing I use focus for is I have do not disturb that I'll turn on every once in a while, but I also have sleep. So when I'm going to sleep, I turn on sleep, which acts a lot like do not disturb. It could be the same thing, and I haven't played around with it, but from what I understand, you can have different lock screens, and based on those, it would put you in different focus modes. Or if you change, so let's say you had a work one, well, you might want different notifications on your lock screen at work, and then you want a weekend one, or whatever the different, you want a Sunday football one where it's got all your football updates. Whatever the different things are, your lock screen's tied into your focus mode, so it can change based on those things. And I really should use it some more, but I just don't.
Yeah, I'm still a little gun shy from the time when focus mode first came out. It's either in 15 or 14 of the operating system. It was on and I didn't know it. And all these texts were coming in and everything. And I'm like, why is nothing, like, why is my watch not beeping? Why is it not flashing? It's because that stupid focus was on and it had kind of done it automatically. And so I'm a little gun shy to kind of implement it. And look at me, I'm just now figuring out how to change my picture on the lock screen. So
yes. Well, the next one is coming later this year, so we won't get into it, but that is iCloud Shared Photo Library, where you can share a photo library with other people. So that they announce will come at some other point. And I think some of the features where it says coming later this year, they need to wait until iPad OS and Mac OS come out.
Because they all work together.
Yeah, if you put this on your phone, then you can't see those pictures on your iPad or your, so it causes all kind of problems. So once everybody's updated, and I did see that one of the reasons I wanted to go through this, one of the apps had tweeted out that more than 50% of their users are now on iOS 16 already. So
it was Apollo
after.
The Reddit app.
Yeah, so they've already done, more than 50% are already on iOS 16, and I'm sure over the next week that number will go up a lot more. And since we have never heard from a single listener that uses an Android phone or is willing to admit it, I figured this pertains to all of our listeners.
Yes, it does. The next section is messages. And did you want to read through those?
Oh, yes, I will.
I think it's your turn.
Edit a message, undo send, mark as unread, recover recently deleted messages, share play via messages, shared with you API, collaboration invitations, collaboration updates, messages collaboration API, SMS tapbacks on Android, dual SIM message filtering, and audio message playback.
Yeah, some of those collaboration and API things you can ignore, but the two biggies are you can edit a message that you sent via text. It's like, oh no, I misspelled potato. Everyone's going to think that I'm that politician who can't spell. Yes. From the 80s.
Dan Quayle.
Dan Quayle. So that's nice. And then, of course, it communicates with the person on the other end what's going on. Nobody cares. Nobody cares if you edit the message, right? Come on, Twitter. Nobody cares. And then undo send. So before the person has had a chance to read it, and keep in mind, if message goes to like 50 different devices and they have 50 different devices, the opportunities to undo send might not be available to you. But if you send it to somebody and you regret sending it, you can take it back like they never knew. But like I said, it doesn't always work. And you mentioned before, mark as unread is a big one. You have a message that you want to get back to, but it's in a sea of entries. It's like, which one was it? Oh, you can just mark it as unread. What are some other ones that stick out to you?
I like the SMS tapbacks on Android because I have a family member who is the only family member who is still on Android. And in our group family messaging, when anybody does a tapback, it just shows up as the text underneath is like, Chelsea laughed at this text.
Right.
And so now they've built that in. So that's a nice, that'll make it less frustrating. I don't use dual SIMs anymore, but I think that would be nice if you have like a work SIM card and a personal SIM card that you'd be able to filter the messages. I didn't even really realize about the recover recently deleted messages, which is nice. But yeah, the share play and the collaboration stuff, I don't really care about.
Well, on to the next. Mail is the next big one. And I got to be honest, I don't use Apple's mail program.
I don't either.
It's gotten better, but lagged behind for so long.
Yes.
Everybody, it feels like, has found other solutions to solve the problems that they didn't solve. Now, if you're just a basic user, it's fine. But for more advanced users, they now have smart search corrections, smart search suggestions, not to be confused with corrections, which is not to be confused with suggestions. Missing recipients and attachments, undo send, scheduled send, follow-up, remind me, rich link, and then BIMI support, which stands for Brand Indicators for Messages Identification. Whew, I have no idea what that means. So as you can see, there's really nothing here like, now we can automatic send to 2 recipients or whatever. I don't know what a feature. I think that's called carbon copy cloning.
Yes. Well, yeah, email is... It's kind of, you feel like we're kind of at the point of maturity with it. And some of these features are welcome additions that you can look into if you use the Mail app extensively.
The Remind Me feature is one that third-party email features have had, or programs have had for a long time, where it's like, hey, I want to snooze this. They use snooze or some other nomenclature, but remind me later to deal with this, versus it's like, well, I'm going to email this to myself. So it's like unread. Well, it's like, well, did you know you could mark emails unread just like you can now messages? And so it gets complicated, but email is one of those things. It was built on such a shaky foundation at the beginning, and now it's like a small base tower that just gets wider and wider at the top. And one of these days, it's just going to tumble over and crash.
Yes, indeed. Well, next up is Safari, the default web browser on the iPhone, which I use. I think you use Brave browser on your phone still, or?
I do.
I will say I don't live in the browser much on my phone. I usually do it on my computer, so I'm not much of a power user there, but there are a lot of features. There's shared tab groups start pages, pin tabs in tab groups, new web extension APIs, web push notifications, extension syncing, website settings sync, new languages, web page image translation, additional web technology support, strong password editing, and Wi-Fi passwords in settings, which that last one, I don't know why that's under the Safari section. That seems like that has nothing to do. But it is a great new feature that if you need to share a Wi-Fi password with somebody and it doesn't pop up share this, you can go into the Wi-Fi and click the little I next to it in your settings, and you can view the password to the Wi-Fi to be able to give it to somebody.
Yeah. And for someone like me who has a kind of a corporate staff Wi-Fi environment, I don't like this. I don't like that one iPhone can share the password to another iPhone just by being next to it. And I don't like, especially now, you click at something and you can see what it is. Before it was still masked, but people could share it. Now people are going to see it. So I'm going to have to come up with a whole new.
Yeah, there needs to be for a secure Wi-Fi environment where you can make it so that is not possible. That would be very nice.
And I was looking through these. There's Passkey Live Text series. It goes on and on. This could be a 4-hour podcast.
Yes, it could. Maybe, I think they kind of put some of the big ones. Maybe we can scroll through. So the passkeys, if you'll remember, they replace passwords with an easier and safer sign-in method. It hasn't, I don't think it's really catching on yet, but we'll talk about that one more later. Live text. So one of the greatest features of iOS 15 is you could take a photo of something or point your camera and just capture the text, and it works great. You can now do that with videos. So if you had a video and there's some text that you wanted to copy out of there, you can do that in videos, new languages. Siri, I didn't really see the best one that everybody's talking about. You can now do call hang up.
Yes.
So if you're on a phone call with somebody and you want them to know that you are done, you can say that and hang up. And it does say in parentheses, participants on the call will hear you.
Yeah, it's so dumb. I guess apparently that did not work before, but I can see it. I mean, I'm climbing a ladder and I've got my AirPod in and I'm on the phone and I'm done, and the other recipient is an idiot and doesn't know how to push the stop button. So I just have to say it, right? But anyway, dictation. I don't use dictation much. it seems to work okay, and it actually seems to work much better than it used to.
Yes, it
but
does.
With auto punctuation, emoji supports, you can put that type of stuff in there. In Maps, the multi-stop routing, it's like, welcome to 1995. You can now have, I want to go to this destination, and then after that, I want to go to this destination versus starting it all over again. Transit fares, transit cards, and Maps. It's like, okay, for those of you on the East Coast, that will apply to you.
Yes, indeed. Apple Pay and Wallet, they've got that Apple Pay Later where you can split the cost of Apple Pay purchases, key sharing, ID cards, Daily Cash Hub, Apple Cash.
Yeah, the hotel key card feature is going to be cool in the future.
You can verify your identity in apps, add keys from Safari, device migration for keys, blah, blah, blah. That's enough of that one.
Yeah.
Home. Now, I don't use the Home app much, but apparently it's all new. I haven't even opened it.
Well, they've got Matter support is the big thing.
Oh, yeah.
This is the Alliance.
Coming later. Yes.
Yeah, everything's coming later. But I don't use Home because it's really restricted and doesn't work with a lot of things. But hopefully with this new Matter integration, I'll probably switch from my Alexa-themed smart device cocktail that I've got going here and switch over to the Apple Home, which would be preferable, but it's just not been capable before.
Yes. So more on the Home, and then the health. You can now track your medications, add medications using your iPhone camera, reminders for medications, medication logging, learn more about your medications, medication interactions, invitations for health sharing, cycle deviation notification. So a lot of medication stuff.
Yeah, apparently health is predicated on everyone on the planet taking drugs.
Yes.
There's a pill for that. We would hate for you to get out and exercise or eat better.
Yes.
Just eat a pill.
Just take a photo of your medication, get it in your iPhone, and eventually the iPhone will just spit it into your mouth and you'll be good.
Well, in fitness, the big change, speaking of health, is fitness apps can now be used with all iPhone users. You no longer need compatible Apple Watch to take advantage of the fitness program that is compatible with your Apple TV. And yesterday I actually turned on a yoga thing and I was trying it out with my watch. And because I could have done that the whole time, but since it's kind of, people are talking about it, it's a new thing with your phone. I tried it out, and let's just say, what is the level before novice and beginner? That's where I'm at.
Yeah. I don't know what that term is, but I understand. I have, with Fitness Plus, I've had it for a year now. I did the one workout at the beginning right before a podcast so I could talk about it on the podcast episode. So,
and then you've done push-ups. Is that part of Apple Fitness?
It's not part of Apple Fitness. And my walks, usually my walk is so short, it's about when I'm getting home. It's like, looks like, do you want to record a workout? Which is not a good sign. But I should use the Fitness Plus, and that is really nice that they expanded it to all iPhone users.
I wish I could adjust the when it tells you to start a workout, because it always seems like I'm done with my quote workout before it alerts me. I want to set it. If I take more than 20 steps, it's a workout.
Yes, indeed. Family sharing, improved child account setup, device setup for kids, screen time requests and messages, and family checklist, which says family checklist gives you helpful tips and suggestions like updating a child's settings as they get older, turning on location sharing, or just reminding you that you can share your iCloud Plus subscription with everyone. I'm
sure that's a feature they don't really need to tell people about, because that's why they have the family plan, so you don't have to pay more. But CarPlay, something that neither you and I have. No. Next generation of CarPlay is coming. You can automatically send messages, and fueling and driving task apps can be integrated into this. So that's kind of cool. Show me the nearest, cheapest gas.
Yes.
And in my smart car, just drive it there.
Yeah. Very nice. Privacy. They're always very privacy focused. They have Safety Check, which is the new feature that you can quickly reset the access that you've granted to others if you're in a bad situation. Pasteboard permission. Apps need your permission before accessing the pasteboard to copy and paste.
Yes. And I'm kind of tired of that saying allow. Is there a way to automatically allow? Do we know?
I don't know. I need to look into that because I agree.
Yeah.
Yes. And media streaming improvements. And then lock hidden and recently deleted albums in photos. So all very nice privacy features.
Yeah. I'm still waiting for them to do this feature. So get ready, Silicon Valley, for this big idea. I want to be able to put my photos in the archive and have them pulled out of my library.
Yes. We discussed that. Besides the hidden album, to have a not in your main gallery, be able to do some sort of an archive, as many archive albums as you want or something, just to have a little more separation.
Yeah, like when I put it in any album, it takes it out of my main album. How about that? That'd be perfect.
Yes, that would be nice. Security, rapid security response, landscape Face ID. I was testing that out. You can now do Face ID with your phone sideways. It didn't seem to work upside down, but sideways, so a lot better angles on Face ID.
I'd verified sideways works. So
yes, and
why not upside down? Why do they?
I don't know.
Why do they care?
I don't know.
Anyway.
They don't want you using your phone upside down. Lockdown mode, which is the extreme security protection. And it actually says here, for the very small number of users who face grave targeted threats to their digital security. So politicians, celebrities, somebody like that, they can do a lot more secure version. Accessibility, so there's a lot of accessibility features. Apple Watch mirroring, so you can fully control your Apple Watch from your iPhone. Detection mode and magnifiers, so you can get descriptions. And I actually took a photo. I was at the winery today and testing my camera on the vineyard there, and it popped up a little leaf there, and I clicked on it, and it was like common grapevine. So it does some of that stuff, and it's built into the magnifier now. Door detection and magnifier, buddy controller. This is really a cool one. You can combine inputs from multiple game controllers into one, so your care provider or friend can support you in getting to the next level in your game.
I think I need help with that.
Yes. Dave plays games coming soon.
Yeah, any help I can get would be great.
Yes, the Siri call hang up again, voice control call hang up, live captions in FaceTime. Both of those are nice. Accessibility options in books. But wow, it keeps going. I love what they do with accessibility. But Siri pause time, adjust how long Siri waits for you to finish speaking before responding to your requests.
I needed to adjust that myself because it keeps cutting me off every time. I'm a thinker. I got to think about the next word, Siri. Come on.
Yes. Yeah. So some other, and then they've got the even more section of this thing, which is about 40% of the page. So we'll just
huge.
read. Yes. App clips, books, camera, foreground blur and portrait photos, and improve quality when recording in cinematic mode. Contacts, dictionary, new dictionaries, FaceTime, handoff and FaceTime, so you can switch between devices, collaboration, live captions, as we mentioned, Freeform, which is coming later this year, Game Center, that supposedly is getting better again, iCloud Plus, keyboard, bunch of new keyboards, the Cantonese input that you were waiting for.
I'm so glad that's there now.
Oh, and most important of all, Memoji, more sticker poses, contact stickers, more hairstyles, more headwear, more noses.
More hairstyles.
More noses.
I could use more noses, though.
Yes, and more neutral lip colors. Music, you can do favorites, music recognition, news, notes. I'm quickly fading here.
Yes. We're just going to have to end the podcast and resume the list later.
Part 2. Yeah, photos. So duplicate detection. That's a one that I was playing around with. You now down next to your recently deleted album, there's a duplicate, so it looks through for duplicate photos. Most of mine were, for some reason, it saves anything I post to Instagram back to my album, so it's like the original image, and then it's not like close to it. It is, these are duplicates of each other.
Well, I don't know. I have some questions here on mine. I have a 5.8 megabyte file and also a duplicate that's 538 kilobytes, which is much smaller.
Oh, yes.
Smaller.
Yes.
If I hit merge, which one is it going to keep?
I would hope the higher quality one for all of our sakes. One of the other things I'm not seeing on here in the photos is that new drag and drop where you can drag a person or an object out of a photo, which I was playing around with.
Yeah, that's
and it
cool.
works really good. You can, if you just kind of hold it, you'll see this like glimmer thing over the object or person, and then if you release, you can hit copy, or you can just drag it and then use another finger to go to another app or something. But it works. It's not perfect, but it works pretty dang good.
In real-time follow-up, the message says merging will keep one version of the duplicate set, combining the highest quality and relevant data and moving the rest to deleted. So it's going to take the better of the two.
Yeah. Podcasts, blah, 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 reminders. The Reminders app has so many features, and I was thinking about this earlier, like with messages that I want to mark as unread. I should just learn the workflow to make them into reminders so they're not showing as unread. And but the Reminders app, man, we could do a whole month on all the features in there, and I really need to start using it more. Settings, the AirPod settings that I mentioned last week, no network editing. So they made some improvements. Spotlight, so the search on the home screen, that's a big change in iOS 16. And you can turn that off in settings if you don't like it. I see it there, but I'm so used to just swiping down on the screen to get the search that I don't really use it, so I might turn it off. Quick actions, stocks, oh geez, system, new languages, Bulgarian, and
there it is.
Tips, collections, translate, camera, new languages, TV app, visual lookup. We made it.
Well, you continue to read. I'm just merging my photos and videos. That's all I'm doing. Oh, you're done. Weather.
Yes, weather. And there are, in the weather app, there are more weather details. So you can like click on future days to see what the temperature range is going to, hour by hour, and severe weather notifications. I do love that there are 28 subnotes there. What do we call those?
Footnotes.
Footnotes. Yes, and it's mostly depending on which phones for some of the features.
I don't know. We should read through all 28 of them, I think.
Yes, indeed. But that is a pretty extensive look at what is in iOS 16 in our longest Dave's Pro Tip of the Week ever. But yeah, it really are some great updates. Now, I kind of buried the lead of the whole episode here, because in my hand, and you got to see it in person the other day, Dave, you will see my always on screen on my iPhone 14 Pro that I received last Friday.
I was looking at the wrong hand. I thought it was a sandwich.
Yes, well, yes, that is also delicious. But I did get my iPhone 14 Pro, but since we spent so long on that, we'll talk more about it next week.
Yeah, I think that's a little tease for people to tune in, because heaven forbid they look at YouTube at the 9,000 other people who have talked about their.
Yes,
but
yes.
You're going to want to know Nate's take, though. It's very unique.
Yes, and you had one more iOS 16 feature that we will save for next week's.
That's another tease. Yes, it's going to change your life.
Yes. Well, on to our takes of the week. There is not much news because everybody's still talking about Apple. But speaking of Apple, in the US, the iPhone has overtaken Android to claim majority of the market for the first time ever.
Yeah, that used to be the big thing. People would be like, well, Apple's a monopoly. And it's like, well, they have the smallest market share of anything. But in the US, they've actually overtaken other, I was going to say smartphone companies. Android's the only game in town.
Yes.
So that they're number one. Now, this is not true around the world. In other countries and other markets, Android still is number one. But in the US, and I believe it. I mean, year after year, I just see more and more iPhones. And
It's
now
true.
it is odd for me to see a non-iPhone in the hand of somebody that I run into just casually.
Yes,
So.
it is getting more. And when I'm DJing at the bar, people watching, I'll usually, I look to see what phone they have, and it's at least 90% iPhone. I am pretty confident of that. But so interesting piece of news there. Amazon, so they've had a couple good years, but this article from CNBC shows where Amazon is closing warehouses across the country. And I checked quickly to make sure our local one wasn't closing so that we don't lose our same-day deliveries that I've become so accustomed to. But they were, and some of them are canceled or delayed. So they were expanding rapidly and they're kind of pulling back, like we've talked about with hiring and everything. The economy is questionable at the moment. And so, it looks like several in California and on the East Coast, and then a smattering through the rest of the U.S.
Well, I don't want them to close anything in our area, but I do want them to turn off that gigantic light that shines right on your face when you turn to go the back roads to Sherwood. It just shines right on the road. I don't know how that's even legal, but that's the only change that I want.
The only change. Yeah. So they closed or canceled 44 facilities and delayed the opening of 25 sites. So take that for what you will. On to our security and privacy junk that just keeps coming up. This one from the Washington Post. Democracy dies in darkness. Customs officials have copied Americans' phone data at massive scale.
Now, how is this accomplished? Because as far as I know, they've not physically had my phone. Are they sucking it up at airports wirelessly?
U.S. government officials are adding data from as many as 10,000 electronic devices each year to a massive database they've compiled from cell phones, iPads, and computers seized from travelers at the country's airports, seaports, and border crossings.
Gotcha.
Leaders of
Seized, yes.
Yes, CBP. And apparently the 2,700 Customs and Border Protection officers have access to this database without a warrant. That's not good. The big news. So Oregon Senator Ron Wyden has written a letter to the commissioner saying...
Is it strongly worded?
I hope so. What in the world are you doing? It says... allowing indiscriminate rifling through Americans' private records. Yeah. Called for stronger privacy protections.
Say what you will about Senator Ron Wyden. That guy, he's on top of it.
Yes.
He doesn't stand for this type of obvious garbage.
Yes, indeed. And we had to get a hack in there too.
Oh, yeah?
Uber was hacked, internal systems breached, and vulnerability reports stolen. So an 18-year-old hacker downloaded, and how did he get into the system? A little social engineering. He convinced somebody to give him the information and was able to access all of Uber's systems.
He said, "Hey, Dana, I'm your boss. Give me the password." And she just gave it to him.
Yes.
So weird.
And it's probably not too far off of that. But so there was also a hack that I didn't cover about Grand Theft Auto 6. And I think maybe the same person was claiming to do both of them. But man, that's not a good one. People, pay attention to who you're giving data to. And important information like passwords to your entire corporation's system. Yeah.
And it's weird. You just asked for my whole LastPass keychain. I sent it to you just now. It's weird because you were talking. How did you ask? Maybe it wasn't you.
Yeah, maybe it wasn't me.
Yikes.
Check. My one pro tip on this is check who the email is coming from. Well, the email address is a good indicator that it is not accurate.
And you know what I did today?
Oh, no.
I sent an email to Kate about something, and I got a reply from Kate at Next Door corporate office and says, I'm sorry, this is not a monitored email address. Apparently, whoever sends out the spam from Nextdoor app is some Kate at Nextdoor, their little mascot person or whatever.
Nice.
That's who I sent my email to because I didn't look to see who it was going to.
Who you're sending it to.
And why is that person in my contacts list?
Why can't that work better? Yes, I work with one of my clients. They have a Nate, and I'll often get emails for that Nate. And I'm like, wrong person. I don't know the answer. Well, let us move on to the bonus odd take. And Dave, I think you might be a member of this one already, but I came across the Cloud Appreciation Society.
Nate, you would be mistaken. I am not a member of the Cloud Appreciation Society because I hail from Kansas where the skies are not cloudy all day.
Oh.
I would have nothing to look at.
Yes. And you probably also don't want to pay the 29.5 pounds per year. But yes, so this is just in the United Kingdom. So yes, they're pounds. The Cloud Appreciation Society is exactly what you think. They have today's Cloud a Day picture, the Cloud of the Month photo.
There's cloud poetry.
Yes, the mighty cumulonimbus, a cloud with plenty to shout about, is the Cloud of Month for September.
You did not say that correctly. Let me look at it. It was it's cumulonimbus.
Cumulonimbus.
Yeah. Cumulonimbus. Yes. Everybody knows the cumulonimbus.
Yes.
It's the great big puffy one that looks like cotton candy.
Yeah. So the recent clouds spotted, different types of clouds, just goes to show you. Oh, the book. Get the book. A Cloud a Day.
There's I wanted to share some of the poetry, and I may have clicked on the wrong one, but there's a long, thin cloud shaped like a flying saucer. And Rick Johnson has written, "Oh, gorgeous saucer, cruising, skirting clouded skies, slim saucer surveying," and it just goes on and on and on. It's really long. I thought it was just going to be a short haiku or something, but if you want cloud poetry, this would be the place to go. Now, what benefits do I get by joining? Do I get to share my cloud photos or something?
Probably. It isn't just a digital thing. Every member receives a pack in the post. A pack in the post. That's very UK.
Yeah.
Your membership certificate says that the member will henceforth seek to persuade all who listen of the wonder and beauty of clouds. The pack also contains one of our cloud selector identification wheels.
Did Queen Elizabeth write this? Henceforth?
Yes.
Yeah, the little selector is like a disc with another disc on top, and you rotate it around to identify clouds, which could be kind of cool. But I got to be honest, does my phone identify clouds like it does animals or grapevines?
Probably would, yes. You get member discounts in their shop, and it will help them inspire young cloud spotters. So rush out.
We laugh, but I mean, come on. We all have that thing that we just adore. And for these people, it is clouds.
There is a lot of things that would be worse to spend your time doing than staring at clouds.
That is true.
And one of those things would not be our picks of the week.
A fellow employee at work said, "Hey, I want to be able to play music in some of the rooms." And I'm like, okay, buy a CD player is one way you could do that. You could hire a minstrel to play an instrument.
Yes.
And she said, "What about like an Echo Dot?" And I was like, you might be onto something. And so what I decided on was I purchased 4 4th generation Echo Dots. These are the bulbous shaped ones.
Yes,
They're like a ball. And I did that for 2 reasons. One, even though you can get the clock feature on the disc shaped ones, they also come in a clock feature. They also have a clock feature. And the sound, it's universally accepted from the YouTube videos I watched that the sound on the 4th generation is much better than the second and third generations. So I went with those, and I'm going to pair it now. People may have opinions and comments about this, but I'm going to pair it with an Apple Music account, just a single user Apple Music account, because it's the only streaming service that I'm aware of that will allow you to play different songs on multiple devices at the same time.
Oh, wow.
If you try it with Amazon Music, it shuts off the other devices. If you try it with Spotify, same thing. Now, what they want you to do is have an individual music account for each of those devices. But come on, this barely going to get used. I'm just going to use the one account they're going to play music for a couple hours, maybe at max a week. And I'm going to try it out. And if they shut me down and say I need multiple accounts, I'll just sign up for an Apple Music family plan at that point. So my pick is the 4th generation Echo Dot. I don't think you can go wrong with any of the Echo Dots, but the 4th generation one is pretty dang cool, and it's very inexpensive.
Well, my pick of the week this week, I hate to even share it with people. If you have a lot of time that you need to waste, if you're watching the Emmys and you don't care,
right?
Have I got the game for you? Now, how I found this game, on Facebook, I always get these game ads and they just look horrible. But there's one I was like, I'm going to go download it. I'm going to give these people, a little credit. Looks kind of mildly amusing. It's a free game. So I went and downloaded this other game and I played the first level. And then I couldn't get to the next level. There was a thing where you could increase your rewards if you watch a video, but it just kept throwing me into that. So I had to keep watching ads over and over again. Well, one of the ads was my pick of the week, which is Gold and Goblins Idle Merger. Now, I thought you
were going to say Golden Eye there for a minute.
Golden Eye 007. No, but from the Google snippet, it says Golden Goblins Stone Miner, Idle Merger, whatever it is, is an exciting mining clicker game of the drill mining genre. It's not just a casual idle tapping, but a unique mining simulator that brings a fresh perspective. Become a part of the idle games community like offline mining tycoon game Gold and Goblins.
Well, I'm going to have to check this out. I love me a clicker game.
Yeah.
And back in the cookie clicker days.
Yeah.
It was so good. You click your mouse on the cookie to get it to give you cookies, and then you could buy more cookies with cookies. It was the dumbest thing. I still have that account, and I copied the save file so I can always go back and load up the save file and continue where it was.
So this one, you have these little goblins and you have these mines with rocks, little mines and mine shafts with different gems, and there's coins and there's diamonds and there's levels and there's events, and you can watch ads. I've been watching a lot of iOS ads, and a lot of them are really bad for really bad games.
Can't you pay $1 and get rid of them or anything?
I think you can, but I keep telling myself I'm going to stop, and then it's like a new event starts. But it's just one of those completely mindless, just clicking something to keep occupied. But it is free. It's available on Google Play and the App Store. But yes, only get into it if you do not have an addictive personality and have some time to spare.
And the title again?
Gold and Goblins.
Idle Merger?
Well, there's Golden Goblins Idle Merger. Yes. Somewhere else it said Stone Miner. Yes. Idle Merger.
Oh, jeez. This camera is terrible. I'm trying to show you on my
but it is pretty well reviewed. It's on Apple. It's got 4.5 stars on 15,734 reviews. 4.5 stars on Google Play. So it's a fun little game, but man, it's not the best use of your time. But if you have time that you don't want to make the best use of, this is the game for you.
Okay.
They need that on their ad copy.
Totally. Well, I'm downloading it now. So why don't we have the audience wait for it to download to get me to sign in, and we'll do an audio version of Dave Plays Games. And I'll just describe what's happening on the screen.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't think of anything more enjoyable.
Very nice. Well, after that rousing round of iOS 16 features, we have gone long enough. Thank you so much if you made it this far. We appreciate it. Share it with a friend. Send us a question. And keep listening so you can get out there and tech better.
Something's buzzing around here. I don't know. I mean, When you have 13,579 pieces of electrical equipment
Yes.
2 feet from you, it's inevitable.
It's going to happen. 3, 2, 1. Welcome to the Not Nerd Podcast. I'm Nate. Ugh.